Picture this. It's 2007. There's this guy in India, Vijay Mallya, and he's known as the king of good times. I mean, this guy's a billionaire with private jets, a Formula One team, even his own airline.
Fast forward to today, and he's a wanted man. He's accused of owing over $1 billion to Indian banks and his own former employees. And get this, he's fighting extradition from a massive mansion in London.
So that's the big question, right? How do you go from beer tycoon, and really a national icon, to being the face of corporate default and just massive public anger? That's what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Vijay Mallya inherited United Breweries, that's the company behind the famous Kingfisher beer, when he was just in his late 20s. But he didn't just run the company. He built this whole public persona, this brand, all around luxury and massive success.
And the scale of this empire, it was just incredible. It wasn't just about the beer, no. We're talking flashy cars, a giant super yacht called the Indian Empress, his own Formula One team, an IPL cricket franchise, the whole shebang. He was literally branding himself as the king of good times.
And the brand was working. So in the mid-2000s, India's middle class was growing. Air travel was absolutely booming. And launching Kingfisher Airlines in 2005, it seemed like a brilliant move. The whole concept was pretty simple, really. Take that successful Kingfisher brand and extend it into a premium, glamorous, party in the sky.
Right, but that's exactly where the problem started, because a glamorous brand does not guarantee a profitable airline.
I mean, look, the airline industry is a notoriously low-margin business. It's tough, but Mallya just doubled down on luxury. He ordered dozens of brand new planes, expanded routes like crazy, and financed the whole thing with massive loans. And here's the kicker, they were backed by his personal guarantees.
Okay, I see your point, I really do. But was this just one man's failure, or was the entire system complicit in this disaster?
For me, it's pretty clear. This is a story about one man's ego and a series of reckless personal choices.
And I have to disagree there. I think this is a story about how the enablers, the banks, the regulators, even the whole good times culture allowed this disaster to happen.
All right, let's just talk about the money for a second. We are talking about up to $1.7 billion. Now, if this airline was such a bad business, my question is, why did so many lenders, including state-owned banks, just keep writing the checks?
And to me, this is exactly where the system failed. You had public sector banks that were, under pressure to fund these big, high-profile projects. Lending to a famous billionaire, that was politically attractive. So you had loans getting approved despite really weak collateral, and the airline losing money year after year. The regulators, they acted way too late. It just raises some really serious questions about corporate governance.
Okay, you're right. The banks were definitely enablers. I'll give you that. But you are seriously underplaying his personal responsibility here. With the way he was running things, the collapse was absolutely inevitable.
Just look at the timeline. By 2011, Kingfisher Airlines was losing over $100 million a year. A year! By early 2012, suppliers weren't getting paid, employees weren't getting paid for months. Then in October, the airline's license is suspended, and by 2016, Mallya had fled the country to the UK.
But here's the thing. While the airline was just burning through cash and people weren't getting their salaries, Mallya's lifestyle, it didn't change one bit. The yachts, the Formula One team, the luxury properties, all of that just kept going.
And you have to contrast that image with the reality for his actual employees. We're talking unpaid salaries, grounded planes, angry creditors. People were protesting at airports. The difference is just staggering. Think about it. When the money got tight and salaries went unpaid, he didn't cut back on his lifestyle. He cut staff and he cut payments to suppliers. That's not just bad luck. That is a hierarchy of priorities.
Now, to be fair, we should mention that Mallya denies any wrongdoing. His argument is that Kingfisher was simply a genuine business failure, not a crime, and that he's being used as a political scapegoat. All while, of course, he continues to fight extradition from his luxury home in the UK.
Well, it's pretty hard to call it just a business failure when you flee the country to avoid facing the music. So, with all that said, what are the lessons here? What can we all learn from this whole mess?
From my perspective, the first lesson is for any founder or leader out there. Do not fund your personal lifestyle with borrowed company money. It's that simple. And second, the moment you see the first red flags, you have to cut costs. Pride can be a very, very expensive thing.
And I think there are lessons for the system too. Number one, don't be a willing believer. Don't let charisma replace actual due diligence. And number two, for any lender or board member out there, if a business is bleeding cash, you have to demand the hard facts, not just a good story.
At the end of the day, this is a powerful cautionary tale about what happens when a massive ego meets easy credit.
Exactly. And when a really good story is allowed to replace some very hard, very uncomfortable facts.